Chosen one, you feel it the moment you pause. Something in the atmosphere bends toward you, as if heaven itself leans close and whispers your name. You are not here by accident. You are not listening by chance. You are intercepted, stopped, caught in a divine pause because God refuses to let you walk past the greatest blessing of your life. You feel the pull in your chest, the tightening in your spirit, the quiet sense that something sacred is unfolding right now. It is not fear, it is recognition. You are standing in the exact moment where heaven reveals what earth has tried to conceal. You have been walking through days where nothing seemed to make sense, where you questioned why everything felt heavy, where doors seemed slow to open, where emotions shifted without warning. But listen. This is not the breaking of a tired soul. This is the awakening of a chosen one. You are being shaken awake so you do not miss the blessing already moving toward you. Heaven is aligning something for you, something tailored, something stamped with your name, something no one else can claim. And God refuses to let you ignore this moment. You feel the urgency in your spirit, not the panic of fear, but the fire of destiny. It presses you, urging you to listen more carefully than you ever have before. For too long you have brushed away the inner tug, the whisper that told you, pay attention. But now the whisper becomes a voice, and the voice becomes a command. Because when God is preparing the greatest blessing of your life, the enemy fights with distraction, confusion, noise, and delay. You have felt all of these recently, not because you are weak, but because you are close. Chosen one. You have been sensing things others around you cannot feel. You have felt the heaviness before the shift. You have felt the tension right before release. You have felt the spiritual pressure that tells you something new is emerging, and today, heaven confirms it. This is your awakening. You've walked through private battles no one saw, nights where your pillow carried tears that never touched your social media, moments where you questioned yourself, questioned your worth, questioned whether God still had something for you. But the fact that you are here, reading these words right now, proves something powerful. Heaven still has a plan with your name on it. You are not done. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are chosen, as was spoken in the sacred texts of old. Isaiah chapter 40, verse 31. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on eagle's wings. You feel this verse stirring in you right now. Strength is returning. Vision is returning. Clarity is returning. The weight you once carried is beginning to crumble. This is not just encouragement, this is activation. God is lifting you out of the fog so you do not miss what He ordained for you long before you felt unworthy, long before you felt tired, long before you doubted your calling. Here is the first new 50-word paragraph. You feel the atmosphere rearranging itself around you, as though unseen hands are clearing a new path ahead. Something is shifting inside you, your confidence rising, your discernment sharpening, your spirit awakening to the truth that you are stepping into a divine moment. Heaven does not prepare you unless something extraordinary is near. Here is the second new 50-word paragraph. You sense your spirit stretching, expanding, preparing to hold what once overwhelmed you. This is growth happening in real time, subtle, powerful, unstoppable. You are no longer the version of yourself that fear could manipulate. You are becoming the one God always saw, steady, anointed, focused, ready for the blessing approaching you. Chosen one. Understand this, the greatest blessing of your life is not something small, not something ordinary, not something replaceable. It is a doorway to a new season, a shift in identity, a realignment of purpose. And the reason you are being warned is because the blessing is close, so close that ignoring this moment would cost you more than you realize. So hear this clearly. Do not scroll past this. Do not shrug this off. Do not numb yourself with distraction. Heaven has interrupted your timeline because your destiny cannot afford another delay. And now, before this message continues shaping your spirit, take a moment of obedience, like, share, comment, and subscribe so you stay connected to every message assigned to your journey. Yes, it matters. Every act of alignment strengthens your spirit. At the very end of this section, as a prophetic act, comment this number 777. You move forward from the awakening, and immediately the atmosphere around you shifts again. You begin to sense just how close you have come to missing something heaven has been preparing for a long time. It is almost unsettling, the realization that what is approaching your life is not ordinary, not accidental, not replaceable. It is precise, it is intentional, and it has been waiting for you to notice it. You begin to understand that blessings are not always loud. They do not always arrive with fireworks or angelic announcements. Many times, they approach quietly, softly, almost silently, like dawn creeping over the horizon. And if your spirit is distracted, overwhelmed, or numb, you can miss what was meant to change the entire trajectory of your life. That's why heaven stops you now, before the blessing passes by unrecognized. You replay the moments in your recent weeks, the strange heaviness, the unusual tension, the moments of sudden clarity, the dreams that felt too vivid to ignore. You think back to the times something within you whispered, "Don't overlook this, pay attention. Something is coming." You brushed it off, not realizing those inner stirrings were warnings from heaven itself. You didn't know the difference between spiritual noise and divine direction. But now you feel the truth rising inside you. You were closer to missing something than you realized. You recall doors you almost closed, decisions you almost rushed, opportunities you almost rejected because they didn't look the way you expected. This is how many chosen ones nearly lose what God gives them. The greatest blessings often appear in forms that require discernment, not sight. They come dressed in responsibility, discomfort, or unexpected shifts. They do not always look like blessings until you step into them. As the psalmist wrote in the book of Psalms, chapter 32, verse 8, "I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. I will guide you." This ancient word awakens something inside you. You feel it settle in your chest like a weight, heavy, steady, undeniable. You realize that heaven's plans for you were never random. They were never last minute. They were never improvised. They were carefully woven into your timeline long before you ever questioned your worth. And in this moment, you see how close your life came to drifting away from those plans simply because you were overwhelmed, distracted, or exhausted. You feel the undeniable truth: God did not allow you to come this far just to overlook the blessing meant to lift you further. He will not let destiny slip past you. He will not let confusion steal what grace has prepared. That is why you feel this urgency, this stirring, this inner alarm that refuses to quiet. Heaven is pulling you into alignment so you do not repeat cycles, so you do not miss your moment, so you do not stand on the edge of breakthrough and walk away empty-handed. You think about how many times you accepted almost in place of appointed, how many times you settled because you didn't realize you were close to something better, how many times you let weariness speak louder than faith. But now the Holy Spirit draws your attention back to the blessing already forming in your path. You begin to see that the pain of the past season was not punishment, it was preparation. It sharpened you, it humbled you, it purified you. It trained your spirit to recognize what heaven was sending. Chosen one, you now grasp that the greatest danger is not the enemy's attack. It is your own dismissal of the subtle voice God uses to guide you. You feel a sobering realization ignoring small instructions can cause you to miss big blessings. Overlooking divine nudges can cause you to bypass the very breakthrough you've prayed for. But now, in this moment, you are being realigned. Your spiritual senses are sharpening. Your awareness is awakening. The fog is lifting. And your spirit is beginning to understand what your mind could not see. You sense heaven drawing you closer to clarity, closer to breakthrough, closer to the precise moment where the blessing becomes visible. You are no longer drifting. You are no longer numb. You are no longer unaware. Something in you has reawakened, something fierce, something discerning, something destined. And from this point on, you will not overlook what God is orchestrating for you. You move deeper into this unfolding revelation. And now you confront something you have avoided for far too long, the whisper you keep ignoring. It has followed you through seasons, through transitions, through sleepless nights. It tugged at you when you were distracted. It nudged you when you felt overwhelmed. It spoke softly when life grew loud. And still, you brushed it aside, not recognizing that it was the gentle voice of God guiding you toward the blessing that has been waiting with your name on it. Chosen one. You know exactly what whisper I speak of, that subtle impression in your spirit that says, "Don't settle here." That feeling in your chest that rises whenever you attempt to shrink yourself. That quiet warning that troubles your peace when you walk towards something not meant for you. That persistent inner voice urging you to rise, to choose better, to walk differently. It was never your imagination. It was never coincidence. It was heaven calling your attention again and again toward the destiny aligned specifically for you. You've learned something crucial in the past season. God rarely shouts. His direction often arrives like a soft breeze brushing past your soul. And because the whisper is gentle, it's easy to dismiss, easy to delay, easy to misinterpret as emotion instead of revelation. But heaven is patient. When you ignore the whisper, God speaks again, and when you ignore it a second time, He brings clarity through circumstances, through discomfort, through restlessness, through divine interruption. Everything you felt recently has been preparation to ensure you do not ignore His voice again. As the Apostle wrote in the first letter to the Thessalonians, chapter 5, verse 19, "Do not quench the Spirit." These ancient words reach into your present moment with undeniable weight. You feel them expose the truth every time you silenced your intuition, every time you doubted your discernment, every time you ignored the gentle pull in your spirit. You were unintentionally pushing away the very guidance meant to protect you and elevate you. But not anymore. Something in you is shifting now. The whisper you once overlooked now thunders in your awareness. You feel it clearly, undeniably, insistently. You realize the whisper was never trying to control you, it was trying to save you. It was trying to redirect you away from heartbreak. It was trying to protect you from counterfeit opportunities. It was trying to guide you toward the blessing that requires your obedience, not your confusion. That whisper carried wisdom. It carried warning. It carried destiny. And now, you finally hear it for what it is, the voice of God calling you into alignment. Think back to the moments you felt uneasy around certain people for no logical reason. Think about the times you felt drained after stepping into environments that looked harmless. Think about the conversations that didn't sit right with your spirit even though the words sounded fine. That was discernment. That was heaven signaling you. That was God whispering, "Pay attention." Your spirit recognized dangers your eyes could not see. And now, the whisper grows clearer. It tells you that something greater is approaching, and you must stay aligned. It tells you to trust the subtle direction you once dismissed. It tells you that you're stepping into a season where your sensitivity to God's voice will shape the entire course of your future. The whisper becomes your compass, your protection, your divine indicator. You feel this awakening deep within you, your spirit sharpening, your discernment rising, your awareness becoming precise, no longer numb, no longer distracted, no longer ignoring what heaven has been speaking. You are entering a season where you listen quickly, obey quickly, and move quickly when God nudges you. This is how chosen ones preserve the blessings prepared for them. And now, chosen one, to ground this moment in action and agreement, I call you to respond with a simple declaration, 4 words or fewer. Type this in the comments, I hear you. Write it not as a casual statement, but as a spiritual act. Because the moment you acknowledge that you hear him, your spirit becomes more receptive. Your discernment becomes sharper. Your alignment becomes stronger. Heaven honors awareness. Heaven responds to obedience. Heaven moves when you acknowledge the whisper. This declaration marks the turning point where you stop overlooking God's guidance and begin honoring it. From this moment on, the whisper will no longer be something you ignore. It will be the voice that leads you straight into the blessing that once stood in danger of being missed. You step forward now with clarity, with humility, and with awakened discernment. The whisper becomes your guide, and you will not overlook it again. You move forward, and as the whisper becomes clearer, you begin to see the intricate pattern behind your recent struggles. What once felt random now reveals itself as intentional. There was a force working quietly in the background, not just heavenly guidance, but also resistance. The enemy has been planting distractions around you, creating noise, stirring confusion, trying to pull your attention away from what God is aligning. And now you see it. You weren't just walking through a difficult season. You were navigating a spiritual trap designed to make you overlook your blessing. This is the enemy's oldest tactic, distraction at the brink of breakthrough. He knows he cannot stop what God has ordained, so he tries to pull your focus away from it. He cannot cancel your blessing, so he tries to make you walk past it. He cannot rewrite your destiny, so he tries to make you ignore the very signs pointing toward it. And if you look back on your recent days, you will see it clearly now: the sudden discouragement, the unusual conflict, the heaviness that came out of nowhere, the moments where your peace felt attacked without reason. None of it was coincidence. It was misdirection. The enemy hoped that if he kept your mind busy, your spirit tired, your emotions unstable, you would be too drained to notice the blessing coming your way. He hoped you would settle. He hoped you would get distracted. He hoped you would say, maybe it's not the right time. But heaven thought differently. God saw the trap forming and began awakening your spirit before the distraction could become your downfall. What the enemy tried to use as interference, God is now exposing as strategy, and you stand in this moment with clarity sharper than before. As the ancient words in the book of Nehemiah, chapter 4, verse 14 declare, "Do not be afraid of them. Remember the Lord, who is great and awesome, and fight for your families, your sons and your daughters, your wives and your homes." This verse doesn't whisper, it commands. It calls you to rise, to resist, to recognize that the battle around you is not random but purposeful. You are not struggling because you are weak. You are struggling because you are stepping into something powerful. And that is exactly why the enemy targeted you. Blessings attract battles. Destiny attracts distraction. Breakthrough attracts interference. The moment heaven releases something with your name on it, darkness tries to confuse your vision so you cannot see what is approaching. If you look closer at your recent days, you'll notice the pattern, the conversations that drained you, the sudden shift in your energy, the thoughts that made you question yourself, the unnecessary tension that rose at the most inconvenient times. Every distraction was timed. Every confusing moment was placed strategically. This was not life falling apart. This was warfare. But what the enemy failed to calculate was your awakening. He did not expect your discernment to sharpen. He did not expect your spirit to rise. He did not expect heaven to intervene and shake you awake before distraction could blind you completely. You are not the person you were months ago. Your spirit is stronger. Your awareness is heightened. Your connection to God's voice is becoming unshakable. And because of that, the distraction no longer works the way it once did. Now, instead of being overwhelmed by resistance, you recognize it as confirmation. You're not confused by the noise, you see it as evidence that something significant is approaching. You're not frustrated by delays, you understand they are signs that you're on the right path. You're not discouraged by emotional heaviness, you realize it is the enemy's final attempt to stop you from stepping into alignment. The spiritual trap is exposed. The fog is lifting. The distraction is losing its power. You begin to understand something deeper. Every chosen one goes through this moment. The moment where heaven prepares a blessing and hell responds with distraction. The moment where your spirit wakes up before your mind understands. The moment where you realize the pressure wasn't meant to crush you, it was meant to refine you. The moment where the battle intensifies not because you are losing, but because you are winning. Chosen one, you now walk with eyes open. The distraction no longer deceives you. You see the enemy's patterns. And because you see, you cannot be misled. You walk forward not in fear, but in fierce awareness. You understand that the intensity of the battle reveals the magnitude of the blessing. And if the enemy has been fighting you this hard, it is because heaven has released something incredible in your direction. You step into this clarity with strength, with confidence, and with a renewed sense of purpose. The trap is revealed, the distraction is defeated, and your focus is returning. And now, nothing, not confusion, not noise, not spiritual interference can keep you from what God has prepared. You step deeper into this unfolding journey. And now the weight of delay presses against your spirit in a way you can no longer ignore. It feels like standing at the edge of a great river, water rushing. Destiny moving, yet something inside you hesitates to cross. You feel the tension between what was and what can be. This tension is not punishment, it is divine pressure. Delay has been sitting on your chest like a silent stone, slowing your steps, making you question whether you're truly ready for what heaven has placed ahead of you. But chosen one, hear this clearly. Delay is not denial. In your life, delay has been the forge shaping you, tempering you, refining your spirit so you would not shatter under the weight of what God is preparing. You may not have realized it, but every slow moment, every unanswered question, every silent season was a kingdom classroom. You were being trained, not ignored, strengthened, not sidelined, redirected, not rejected. And now, you feel the consequence of hesitation. You sense the cost of waiting too long in places God asked you to leave. You feel the heaviness that settles in the soul when divine timing keeps moving. But you don't. It's like holding a seed in your hand, knowing it could have become a tree by now. Or like carrying an unopened letter in your pocket, knowing it contains the breakthrough you prayed for. Delay has weight not because God is cruel, but because your spirit knows you were created to move, not to stay stuck. As the voice of God thundered in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 1, verse 6, "You have stayed long enough at this mountain." These words strike your spirit like lightning. You feel them. Because the mountain represents the cycle you have repeated too many times, overthinking, waiting for perfect conditions, letting fear dress itself as wisdom, waiting for permission when heaven already said go. This mountain is not physical, it is internal. And God is telling you that lingering any longer will cost you part of the blessing He has prepared. Delay can steal blessings the way fog hides the sunrise. It doesn't stop the light, it simply blinds you from seeing it. And that is why God is pushing your spirit with greater force now. He refuses to let you miss what He designed for you. He knows what is waiting on the other side of your obedience. He sees the breakthroughs, the restored relationships, the opportunities, the provision, the calling, the elevation that only activate when you move. You begin noticing that your soul has been restless, not because something is wrong, but because something is ready. That ache you've been feeling has been misinterpreted as emotional confusion, when in truth it is spiritual labor. Something in your life is ready to be born, to emerge, to bloom. Delay is the only force holding it back. And perhaps you didn't even realize how heavy delay had become until this very moment. It's like realizing you've been walking through life carrying a backpack full of stones, memories, regrets, fears, unfinished assignments, dreams you put on the shelf. You only feel the full weight when someone gently lifts it off your shoulders. That is what heaven is doing right now, lifting your awareness so you can see what has quietly been slowing you. Yet even in this revelation, you feel gratitude rising because God didn't let the blessing expire. You didn't lose it. You're simply being awakened to move toward it. Heaven is not frustrated with you, heaven is urging you. Chosen one. This moment is sacred. And because moments like this shape destinies, I'm going to speak to your heart with sincerity if these messages reach you deeply, if they help you rise, if they remind you that your life has purpose and calling, then nurture the connection. Like and share not out of habit, but as a way of planting seeds so this word reaches others who are stuck in their own delay. Subscribe because your spirit needs consistent nourishment, not occasional reminders. And if you feel led, only if the Spirit stirs you support or donate as an act of alignment. The same way a gardener waters the soil that feeds the tree he hopes will bear fruit. Give not out of pressure, but out of purpose. Now you stand here in the doorway between almost and now. You know what's at stake. You know heaven is urging you forward. You know delay cannot be your companion anymore. You take a breath, and something inside you rises with new courage. Because you are done staying at this mountain, you are stepping into movement, into obedience, into blessing. And heaven moves with you as you move. You step forward from the weight of delay, and suddenly you find yourself standing in front of a decision so pivotal that your entire spirit feels the gravity of it. This is the moment where heaven watches with a holy stillness, waiting to see what you will do. You feel it not as fear, but as a deep trembling in your soul, a recognition that what you choose now will shift the direction of your life. This is the decision that changes everything. It is not the loud decisions that alter destiny, it is the quiet ones, the ones you make alone. The ones you make in the space between hesitation and obedience. The ones made when no one is watching but heaven. And right now, you are standing in one of those sacred crossroads. You can sense it. This moment feels different, heavier, cleaner, sharper. You feel the atmosphere around you tightening like the string of a bow about to release an arrow. You know that the trajectory of your future is being shaped by what you choose in this very season. You know that one decision, just one, can unlock the blessing God placed before you or delay it once again. And heaven is calling you to choose alignment, not comfort, not familiarity, not fear, not repeating old cycles, but alignment. You can almost hear the whisper. This is the moment. Don't shrink, don't stall, don't ignore this. You already feel the consequences of ignoring past instructions, how it delayed breakthroughs, how it muted your clarity, how it weakened your momentum. This time, you feel compelled to move differently, because you sense the blessing waiting on the other side of obedience is too great to lose again. And just as you begin to wrestle with this sacred decision, a scripture rises in your spirit like a torch lifted in the dark. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 7, verse 13, "Enter through the narrow gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many enter through it." These words hit you with piercing clarity. The narrow gate is obedience. The narrow gate is trust. The narrow gate is moving when your spirit says now, even when your mind wants to wait. The narrow gate requires courage. The narrow gate requires surrender. The narrow gate requires choosing God's voice over your own comfort. And you feel the truth. The blessing you've been praying for is behind the narrow gate, not the wide one. The wide gate is easy. It requires no faith, no sacrifice, no bravery. It is the gate of convenience, procrastination, distraction, delay. And yes, you have walked through that gate before, more times than you want to admit. But today, heaven is pulling you toward the narrow one, the one that demands obedience, the one that stretches your faith, the one that asks you to choose God even when you don't have all the answers, the one that carries the blessing no one can take from you. You feel the tension between the two gates. One feels familiar, the other feels divine. And though the divine one is narrower, harder, and less predictable, it is the only one that leads to the blessing assigned to your life. This is the moment you choose differently. This is the moment you align with heaven's instruction instead of your old habits. This is the moment you step into obedience, not delay. The more you reflect, the more you understand God is not just asking you to make a decision. He is asking you to grow into the kind of person who can carry the blessing that follows. Some doors only open for the version of you who is willing to obey. Some seasons only unlock when your spirit fully surrenders. Some breakthroughs only arrive when you choose the narrow gate. You feel God stretching you, not to break you, but to prepare you. You feel heaven inviting you, not to pressure you, but to elevate you. You feel your spirit rising, not in fear, but in recognition. This is the decision that will determine the next chapter of your life. And because this moment is sacred, I invite you into a prophetic act of agreement. At the end of this section, comment this number 404, not as a random symbol, but as a declaration that you choose alignment, clarity, and obedience. This number marks your agreement with heaven. It marks your readiness to walk through the narrow gate. It marks your decision to not miss the blessing again. Chosen one. This moment will echo. Your decision will ripple into your future, and heaven is already responding to your alignment. You step into the next phase of your awakening, and as you do, the atmosphere thickens not with fear, but with revelation. For the first time, you begin to sense the hidden battle taking place around you, a battle that explains every moment of heaviness, every strange resistance, every sudden wave of confusion that tried to settle over your mind. What you thought were emotional swings, coincidences, or random frustrations were actually echoes of unseen warfare pressing against your destiny. Chosen one, you are being given spiritual eyesight in this moment. You are seeing beyond the surface. What others call bad luck, you now recognize as interference. What others call stress, you now discern as spiritual pressure. What others brush off as just life, you now understand as strategic pushback from forces that know exactly who you are becoming. You have never been fighting for nothing. The battle isn't random, it is reactive. Darkness reacts to movement. It reacts to calling. It reacts to awakening. And the more aligned you become with God's voice, the more violently the enemy tries to cloud your clarity. But what the enemy failed to calculate is that clarity is returning to you, not through your mind, but through your spirit. For the first time in a long time, you can feel the truth. You were not under attack because you were weak. You were under attack because you were rising. Your spirit has been shifting. Your awareness has been sharpening. Your decisions have been aligning. And the enemy saw it even before you did. That's why the resistance increased. That's why certain relationships suddenly shifted. That's why your peace felt tampered with. That's why you felt waves of exhaustion at moments when you needed the most clarity. Darkness has been trying to pull your attention away from what God is preparing. As the ancient words recorded in Ephesians, chapter 6, verse 12 declare, "For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms." This scripture doesn't simply inform you, it unmasks reality. You feel the veil lift from your understanding. You see now that the battle surrounding you has been spiritual, strategic, intentional. Nothing was accidental. The discomfort you felt did not come from the world, it came from warfare. You can trace it now. Those sudden waves of self-doubt, not yours. Those intrusive thoughts telling you to quit, not from God. That emotional heaviness that appeared without reason, not natural. That confusion that clouded your decisions, not coincidence. All of it was designed to distract you from the direction heaven was pulling you toward. Spiritual battles often don't look dramatic. They appear subtle in the fatigue that hits at the wrong time, in the distractions that pop up when you try to focus, in the sudden conflict with people who once felt peaceful, in the unnecessary worry that rises without cause. But now, the subtlety is exposed. You see your enemy, and the moment a chosen one recognizes the battle loses its power. For years, you fought blindly, reacting emotionally to spiritual interference. But now, you are awakening to the truth: you are not fighting alone, and you are not fighting without authority. You feel heaven standing with you. You feel strength returning to your spirit. You feel awareness replacing confusion. You feel divine fire rising in your chest. The hidden battle around you has only one goal: to make you stop walking toward the blessing God is aligning. But now that you see the strategy, it cannot succeed. Awareness dismantles darkness. Revelation destroys confusion. Light exposes the trap. This moment marks the shift where you stop being the hunted and begin stepping into your identity as the warrior heaven designed you to be. Chosen one. Understand this deeply: if the battle has been intense, it is because the blessing is close. If the resistance has been strong, it is because the breakthrough is significant. If the pressure has been heavy, it is because heaven is preparing to lift you higher than you've ever been. And now that the hidden battle is exposed, you walk forward differently. Not timid, not hesitant, not confused, but with a steady fire in your eyes and a sharpened edge in your spirit. You move with the awareness of someone who knows the truth: you were never fighting nothing. You were fighting for destiny, and destiny is fighting back for you. You move forward from the revelation of the hidden battle, and suddenly, a new awareness washes over you, soft, profound, almost overwhelming. You begin to sense that your journey is not random. Your existence is not accidental. There is something written about you in places far older than your pain, deeper than your fears, and higher than your understanding. You feel it in your spirit. Heaven has known your name long before you ever learned to speak it. You were marked, chosen one. There are records in heaven scrolls, assignments, divine blueprints written before the foundations of the world. And in those heavenly writings, your name appears not as an afterthought, but as part of a divine plan. You exist because God willed you into existence. You are here because your presence solves a problem in the world. You carry a purpose that cannot be duplicated, imitated, or transferred to another. Heaven has documented you. This is why the battles in your life have been unusually intense. This is why you never fit in the places other people called normal. This is why your spirit has always been restless in environments that lack depth, truth, or authenticity. It's because heaven did not design you for the shallow. You were created with weight, with calling, with assignment, and your name has been recorded in the divine archives of purpose. As the ancient words in the book of Isaiah, chapter 43, verse 1 reveal, "Fear not, for I have redeemed you, I have called you by name, you are mine." When you hear this, something shifts inside you, that not the kind of shift that makes noise, but the kind that makes truth settle deep in your bones. You feel it. God didn't just save you, He claimed you. He didn't just watch you, He chose you. He didn't just hear your prayers, He authored the path you're walking. Your name is not a sound, it is a calling. Heaven speaks it with intention. And the more you think about it, the more you recognize that certain experiences in your life were direct evidence that heaven has been guarding your scroll. There were moments where danger should have found you, but it didn't. Moments where heartbreak could have destroyed you, but it didn't. Moments where your own choices could have derailed you, but grace intervened. Why? Because heaven refused to allow anything to damage what was written about you. When God writes your name on a blessing, no enemy can erase it. When God assigns you a destiny, no darkness can cancel it. When God marks you for a season, no delay can deny it. And yet your spirit has often struggled under the weight of identity. You felt unqualified, too flawed, too broken, too inconsistent. But here's the truth that heaven whispers over you. Your name was recorded before your failures, before your fears, before your wounds. God didn't choose the perfect version of you, He chose the destined one. You begin to see that the reason you endured so much pain is because you were being shaped, not punished. The reason certain people walked away is because they were never written into your scroll. The reason some opportunities collapsed is because they belonged to someone else's chapter, not yours. Your life has been sovereignly protected even in the moments you felt most abandoned. This realization humbles you, it steadies you, it quiets the noise inside your heart. Because now you see that heaven has never been uncertain about you. God has never questioned whether you would rise. Angels have never doubted your resilience. Your name in heaven's scrolls means you carry divine intention in every step, even when your path felt dark. Chosen one. Understand something powerful. Heaven does not write names for decoration. It writes names for purpose. And when your name appears in God's design, you become a threat to darkness simply by existing. You become a weapon against chaos simply by awakening. You become a carrier of light simply by walking into rooms. This is why your presence unsettles the wrong people. This is why your spirit detects lies before your mind understands why. This is why you feel deeply, love deeply, hurt deeply, discern deeply. It is because your soul is connected to something eternal. You are not an ordinary person navigating a temporary world. You are a heavenly assignment wrapped in human form. You now step forward with a new understanding. Your life is not random. Your calling is not fragile. Your identity is not uncertain. Your blessing is not lost. Your name is recorded. Your assignment is active, and heaven is watching over its fulfillment. This is why you cannot be destroyed. This is why you will not be forgotten. This is why you cannot fail in what God has written for you, for what heaven writes. Earth cannot cancel. You move deeper into this sacred unfolding, and suddenly you feel something inside your spirit, an inner vibration, a spiritual alarm that has been ringing quietly beneath the surface. It is subtle, yet strong enough to stir you. It feels like the tightening of the air before a storm or the quickened heartbeat right before a revelation. You may not have had language for it before, but now you do. This is heaven's warning bell. It is not a warning of danger, it is a warning of timing. Chosen one. There are moments in life when heaven steps closer, when the spiritual realm presses into the natural, when the atmosphere around you starts to intensify because something is shifting. And in those moments, God sounds a sacred alarm within you, not through fear, but through conviction, not through panic, but through awareness. You feel it now. The bell is ringing. It rings when you're about to walk into a destiny moment. It rings when your spirit is entering a new season. It rings when heaven wants to make sure you do not miss what is approaching. Sometimes the bell comes through restlessness. Sometimes through an unexplainable stirring. Sometimes through the sudden clarity that something must change now. Sometimes through the strong feeling that a boundary must be drawn, a decision must be made, or a path must be left behind. But always, this bell carries purpose. What you're feeling now is not anxiety, it is activation. And heaven confirms it with ancient words that echo through generations. As the prophet wrote in the book of Joel, chapter 2, verse 1, "Blow the trumpet in Zion, sound the alarm on my holy hill, the Lord's day comes." These words aren't meant to frighten you. They are meant to awaken you. They remind you that when heaven is preparing a shift, a trumpet is sounded not to warn you of destruction, but to alert you that divine movement has begun. The spiritual alarm ringing inside you is the same kind of trumpet. It is God saying, "Pay attention. Do not sleep through this moment." Suddenly, the odd experiences you've had recently begin to make sense. You felt an unusual heaviness on days that should have been light. You felt a surge of energy on days when nothing special happened. You sensed a pull away from certain conversations, certain habits, certain people. Your spirit has been detecting spiritual movement before your mind could understand it. This is what happens to chosen ones. Their spirits pick up signals before their circumstances reveal them. You recall the moments where your peace was disturbed without reason. You remember the nights where sleep felt impossible because something within you was stirring. You think about the times you felt a sudden need to withdraw, to reflect, to pray, to listen. These were not mood swings, they were spiritual signals. Heaven was warning you that something was shifting. Heaven rings this bell for one reason, so you do not miss the moment where obedience is required. The enemy, on the other hand, tries to drown out this bell with distraction noise, confusion, irritation, sudden emotional turbulence. He hopes your spirit will become so overwhelmed that you fail to recognize the sacred timing unfolding around you. But this time, you are awakened. You hear the bell. You feel the signal. You recognize the call. This alarm tells you that your next step matters. It tells you that your spirit must stay alert. It tells you that heaven is coordinating something on your behalf. It tells you that you are approaching a divine intersection where your obedience will unlock your blessing. And now, In this holy moment, I invite you to anchor your awareness with a short declaration. Type this in the comments: I'm alert. This is more than a phrase, it is a spiritual stance. A declaration to heaven that you are aware, that you are listening, that you are ready. When you write it, you are acknowledging the bell. You are aligning yourself with divine timing. You are positioning your spirit to move when God says move. Because chosen one, the alarm is not ringing to scare you. It is ringing to prepare you. It is calling you into alignment. It is calling you into readiness. It is calling you into the moment where everything begins to shift. You are stepping into a season where you no longer sleep through destiny. You no longer overlook God's instruction. You no longer walk blindly past what is meant for you. The bell has sounded, and you are awake. You step forward from the sacred warning bell, and now you find yourself standing at a place unlike anything you've encountered before. It feels as though the road beneath your feet has narrowed into two clear paths, one drenched in light, the other fading into familiar shadows. You feel the weight of this moment settle over you, not as fear, but as clarity. You have reached a crossroads of destiny. This crossroads is not physical. It isn't a place you can touch with your hands or mark on a map. It exists within you, deep in the place where your spirit recognizes truth before your mind can process it. You know this moment matters. You know your next step carries power. You sense that the choices you make here will echo into the future God has written for you. At this crossroads, everything becomes sharper. The air feels different. Your spirit feels alive. Your awareness heightens. It is as if heaven has cleared the noise around you so you can hear the direction clearly. And for the first time, you understand destiny doesn't come to the passive. It comes to those who choose. You have delayed in past seasons. You have taken detours. You have paused at moments where heaven invited you to move. But now, the hesitation is melting away. Not because you suddenly gained confidence, but because God is pulling you toward alignment. You feel Him strengthening your steps, steadying your breath, quieting your doubts. Something is shifting. Something is unlocking. Something is calling you forward. In this exact moment, heaven gives you a reminder, a whisper from sacred scripture that speaks directly to the weight of where you stand. According to what is revealed in the book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verse 6, "In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will make straight your paths." These words don't simply advise you, they illuminate the path beneath your feet. You realize that God is not asking you to navigate this crossroads alone. He is not asking you to choose based on fear, logic, or past pain. He is asking you to acknowledge Him, to lean into His voice, to trust His direction, and when you do, the path becomes straight, not easy, but straight, not effortless, but guided. This crossroads feels like standing at the edge of an ocean at sunrise. The waves before you shimmer with possibility. But stepping forward requires courage to trust the water will carry you. Courage to let go of the shore you've grown comfortable with. Destiny is the tide inviting you forward. Fear is the anchor trying to hold you still. You've stood at this edge before, but now the invitation feels different. Stronger. Clearer. Holy, heaven is urging you to step into the deep, where blessings flow like currents and purpose rises like sunlight. But you must choose. Destiny responds to movement, and chosen one, as you take in the significance of this moment, I want to speak to your heart sincerely and gently. If these messages guide you, strengthen you, and awaken something inside you, then I invite you to stay connected, like share, subscribe, not as a routine, but as an act of planting seeds in good soil. Every interaction helps these words reach others who are standing at their own crossroads. And if you ever feel led, never pressured to support or donate, do so the way a traveler offers water to a lighthouse keeper, with gratitude, with purpose, with understanding that the light guiding you also helps others find their way. What you support grows. What you cherish strengthens. What you nurture blooms. But this moment is not about me, it is about your crossroads. You feel the gravity inside you rising. You sense heaven's attention fixed on you. And you realize something powerful: you cannot walk both paths. You cannot cling to the old and step into the new at the same time. You cannot stay where you've been and reach where God is calling you. One path leads back into cycles you've already survived. The other leads into a future you've prayed for but never fully stepped toward. And now your spirit begins to lean toward the path of light. You feel drawn toward growth, toward purpose, toward divine alignment. You feel strength returning. You feel your courage rising. You feel destiny whisper, "This way." This crossroads is not meant to break you, it is meant to reveal you. It is here that heaven sees what you choose when everything matters. It is here that you step into your greatest transformation. It is here that blessings begin to unfold the moment obedience meets direction. Chosen one, you stand in the center of destiny's intersection, and heaven is ready to walk with you as you choose the path aligned with your calling. You step forward from the crossroads, and as you do, a realization begins to settle into your spirit with remarkable clarity: the blessing you have been praying for, longing for, fighting for, and even doubting at times, it is already assigned to you. It is not floating in uncertainty. It is not waiting for approval. It is not being debated in the heavens. It is written, sealed, prepared. Your blessing has a timestamp in the unseen realm, and nothing, no delay, no distraction, no attack can cancel what God has already authored. And yet, even with this truth, you feel the tension of waiting. The space between assigned and arrived has stretched you in ways you never expected. You've walked through seasons where the promise felt distant. You've battled doubt when you saw others receive what you were still praying for. You've wondered at times whether you misheard God, misunderstood His timing, or simply weren't worthy of what He promised. But now, as you step deeper into this revelation, something becomes clear: the blessing has never been the issue, your readiness has. Heaven does not release blessings into unprepared hands. God does not pour destiny into a spirit still entangled with old cycles. And so, while the blessing was already assigned, God has been preparing you to carry it. You see now that every moment of discomfort had purpose. Every waiting season was strategic. Every closed door you faced wasn't punishment, it was protection. You were being shaped into the version of yourself who could hold the blessing without losing it. Because blessings carry weight, not destruction, but responsibility. They require maturity, wisdom, patience, and spiritual awareness. It is like holding a precious vessel made of gold. If you receive it too early, you might drop it. If you receive it with shaky hands, you might mishandle it. So heaven steadies you, strengthens you, stabilizes you before placing the blessing into your hands. This truth rises in your spirit with the force of revelation as ancient scripture echoes through your awareness. As the apostle reminds us in his letter to the Galatians, chapter 6, verse 9, "Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." You feel the weight of these words. Proper time, not convenient time. Not emotional time, not rush time, but proper time, divine timing. You sense that time drawing near now. It is as though the atmosphere around you vibrates with expectancy. Your blessing is not wandering, it is approaching. But here is the mystery many never understand: blessings often arrive disguised. They do not always look like what you imagined. Sometimes they show up as opportunities that stretch you. Sometimes as responsibilities that elevate you. Sometimes as relationships that refine you. Sometimes as endings that make room for new beginnings. Heaven rarely presents blessings wrapped in comfort. Instead, blessings come wrapped in purpose. This is why, when your blessing begins to approach, life often becomes uncomfortable. You feel the tension of change. You feel the pull away from old patterns. You feel the divine urging to release what no longer aligns. Because as your blessing draws near, everything that cannot go with you begins to fall away. You might not have recognized it at the time, but the emotional heaviness you felt recently was not depression, it was spiritual shedding. The restlessness was not anxiety, it was alignment. The broken connections were not rejection, they were divine redirection. Heaven was clearing space for what was assigned to you. Chosen one. You must understand this: what is meant for you cannot be taken from you, but it can pass you by if you are not in position to receive it. That is why God has been shifting you, stretching you, correcting you, awakening you, because He refuses to let you lose what He has written with your name on it. Your blessing is not fragile. Your blessing is not uncertain. Your blessing is not conditional. Your blessing is appointed. But God wants you to recognize it when it arrives. There were seasons in the past where you may have overlooked good things because you were in the wrong state of mind, tired, distracted, doubtful, wounded. Now heaven is ensuring that your eyes are open, your spirit is alert, your heart is receptive. You are not waiting for your blessing anymore. Your blessing is waiting for you, waiting for your clarity, waiting for your obedience, waiting for your healing, waiting for your readiness. And now, for the first time, your spirit feels aligned with what heaven has been preparing. You feel the quiet assurance that something is moving in your direction. Something is opening. Something is shifting. Something is unfolding. You can't see it yet, but you feel it. And that feeling is not imagination, it is spiritual recognition. The blessing assigned to your life is already on its way, already written in the heavenly archives, already prepared for your arrival. And now you are stepping into the season where you finally meet it. You step forward from the revelation that your blessing is already assigned. And now heaven invites you into a moment far deeper than longing. This is the moment where God tests readiness. Not to expose your flaws or shame your humanity, but to reveal the strength He has been cultivating inside you. This season is not about convincing God you are worthy. It is about discovering that you already are. Heaven knows who you are becoming, but now you must see it for yourself. Chosen one, every blessing carries weight, and God refuses to place a crown on a spirit still learning to balance. His love protects you not just from the enemy, but from premature elevation. Before He releases what you've prayed for, He prepares you to carry it. And that preparation rarely feels comfortable. It comes through stretching, through refining, through holy pressure that reveals what is real within you. Lately, you have felt this pressure. It came through unexpected moments where your patience was tried, through emotional waves revealing old wounds, through decisions that forced you to choose between past cycles and present growth. You may not have recognized it, but these were not random hardships. They were spiritual evaluations, gentle, deliberate, purposeful. Heaven has been watching how you respond when the path tightens, when answers delay, when familiar temptations revisit, when silence forms around your prayers. What looked like setbacks were actually mirrors. What felt like chaos was, in truth, calibration. God was not punishing you. He was showing you that your spirit is stronger than it used to be. Without realizing it, You began to embrace new patterns. You started choosing peace instead of reaction. Even when your emotions burned hot, you walked away from things that once held you captive. Even when your heart felt conflicted, you recognized red flags earlier, listened to the whisper within you more carefully, and leaned into discernment with more clarity. You responded differently. You rose differently. You prayed differently. You saw differently. Heaven saw that. Every time you resisted an old temptation, heaven recorded it as growth. Every moment you refused to repeat a destructive cycle, heaven counted it as maturity. Every decision you made from wisdom instead of impulse became proof that your spirit is shifting into alignment. You were being shaped, strengthened, softened, awakened. And now, heaven makes the purpose of that pressure clear through ancient scripture. As the ancient words in the book of James, chapter 1, verse 12 declare, "Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him." These words do not merely comfort you, they interpret your journey. You persevered. You endured pressure that once would have broken you. You survived circumstances that would have crushed earlier versions of your heart. You kept moving on days when your spirit felt exhausted. You kept believing even when the path felt unclear. This is what standing the test looks like. It is not perfection, it is perseverance. God has been testing not to disqualify you, but to reveal your capacity. He wanted you to see what he already knew: you are ready for more. Not because everything around you is perfect, but because everything inside you is different. You think more clearly. You love more intentionally. You forgive more quickly. You protect your peace more fiercely. You recognize spiritual warnings more instantly. You release what no longer aligns more easily. These are signs of readiness, quiet, powerful, undeniable, and now you sense the shift. Something inside you feels lighter. Something in your spirit feels settled. Something in your discernment feels sharper. It is as though the final threads of old identity have been cut loose, and the version of you who prayed from survival has transformed into the version who prays from alignment. You are not who you were 6 months ago. You are not who you were last year. Heaven sees it, heaven honors it, heaven responds to it. Because this is a sacred moment, I invite you to seal it with a prophetic act of agreement. At the end of this section, comment the number 5555. Not as decoration, not as superstition, but as declaration. Let it symbolize your readiness, your transformation, your alignment with heaven's timing. Let it stand as a spiritual marker that says, I am stepping into what God has prepared. Chosen one. The test was never meant to break you. It was meant to reveal that you have already grown into the person capable of carrying the blessing that is now drawing near. And now, heaven begins to open the next door. You step out of the season of testing and into a quiet, almost electric stillness. It's the kind of stillness that doesn't feel empty, it feels full. Full of movement, full of transition, full of something unseen shifting around you. You may not be able to name it, but you can feel it. The atmosphere itself feels different, as if heaven has turned a page and the script of your life is now entering a new chapter. This is the shift in the atmosphere. It doesn't happen loudly. It doesn't arrive with dramatic signs. It begins softly, like the faint change in wind before a storm, or the subtle difference in the morning air before a new season begins. You sense something is changing, not outside you, but around you, above you, and within you. Your spirit is tuning itself to this new frequency, this new alignment, this new flow that heaven has begun to release. Chosen one, speak spiritual shifts often feel like contradictions. You feel lighter and heavier at the same time. Lighter because old burdens have fallen off your shoulders. Heavier because purpose settles more firmly upon you. Your mind becomes quieter, but your intuition becomes louder. You feel more grounded, yet more aware of the supernatural currents moving around your life. These are not signs of confusion. They are signs of transformation. Something in the atmosphere around you is recalibrating. You may notice your thoughts becoming clearer, your emotions settling, your desires shifting. What once felt appealing now feels empty. What once drained you now no longer has access to your energy. What once confused you now appears plainly. This shift is not random, it is spiritual alignment bringing you into harmony with what God has prepared. You might even notice practical changes without understanding why. Conversations feel different, environments feel different, people feel different. You sense intentions more quickly. You see truth more easily. You detect dishonor earlier. You pull back from what no longer resonates. These are not mood swings, they are signs that your spirit is stepping into a higher level of discernment. Heaven confirms this shift with ancient words that speak directly to transitions. As the prophet Elijah spoke as recorded in the first book of Kings, chapter 19, verse 11, "And behold, the Lord passed by, and a great and strong wind tore into the mountains. But the Lord was not in the wind, and after the wind an earthquake, but the Lord was not in the earthquake." This scripture reminds you that God often moves quietly, not always in the noise, the shaking, or the obvious. Sometimes his greatest movements are contained in silence and shifts too subtle for the untrained heart to detect. What you are feeling right now is not a storm. It is a divine passing by, a divine rearranging, a divine repositioning that heaven is orchestrating on your behalf. This shift explains the subtle restlessness you've been feeling, not a troubled restlessness, but the kind that tells you you're outgrowing a season. You feel yourself expanding spiritually, emotionally, mentally. You feel a pull away from the old. Not because the old was bad, but because the new is arriving. You are shedding layers of identity you no longer need, stepping out of patterns that no longer fit, rising into clarity that was once fogged. You may even notice moments of sudden release, thoughts leaving your mind, burdens lifting from your heart, memories losing their sting. This is the atmosphere cleansing itself around you. It is heaven removing anything that would cloud your vision as you prepare for what comes next. At the same time, you feel a strange increase of focus. You begin noticing things you once overlooked. You feel compelled to move away from distractions. You start craving quiet, peace, simplicity, truth. The shift in the atmosphere is aligning you with purpose. It is stripping your life of noise so you can hear God more clearly. You also notice an increase in sensitivity, your spirit responding quickly to things that feel off. A conversation that once would have seemed normal now feels draining. A habit you once tolerated now feels misaligned. A decision you once postponed now feels urgent. This sensitivity is not weakness, it is elevation. God sharpens the senses of those he is about to promote. And somewhere inside you, beneath all the movement and change, you feel something you may not have felt in a long time: hope. Not naive hope, but grounded, steady, mature hope. The kind that whispers, something is coming. The kind that rises without permission. The kind that ignites without explanation. This hope is not from you, it is from heaven, signaling that the spiritual shift is aligning you with the blessing waiting ahead. Chosen one, the air around you has changed because your season has changed. You are not walking into the same environment you walked out of. You are stepping into a new atmosphere, one charged with destiny, clarity, favor, and divine orchestration. This is the shift that happens right before breakthrough becomes visible. This is the adjustment heaven makes before blessing touches earth. This is the transition that prepares you for what section 14 will reveal. The atmosphere has shifted, and now you shift with it. You move forward from the atmospheric shift, and almost immediately, something remarkable begins to happen, something you may not have words for, but your spirit recognizes it instantly. It is subtle at first, like a gentle rearranging in the unseen realm. But then it grows stronger, clearer, undeniable. You begin to notice barriers that once stood firm in your life beginning to weaken. Doors that seemed welded shut start to loosen. Delays that held you back begin to dissolve. You feel that heaven is removing obstacles. This is not the result of luck, chance, or human effort. This is divine intervention. There comes a moment in every chosen one's journey where heaven says, enough. Enough resistance, enough interference, enough delay, enough cycles repeating, enough blockages preventing movement. When that moment arrives, everything that once opposed you begins to shift whether it wants to or not. You have reached that moment. For so long, it felt like you were walking through invisible walls. You tried to move forward, but something unseen seemed to pull you back. You tried to grow, but something resisted your every step. You tried to break patterns, but something tried to drag you into old cycles. You tried to choose healing, but old wounds resurfaced at the worst time. You tried to rise, but gravity always felt stronger than your wings. But now, the spiritual atmosphere around you has changed. And when the atmosphere changes, barriers fall. You might begin noticing unexpected breakthroughs, opportunities you thought were gone suddenly reappearing, conversations opening that you once feared having, clarity returning to areas where confusion lived, even your energy shifting from heaviness to lightness. These are not coincidences. They are signs that the obstacles blocking you have begun to crumble. And heaven confirms this movement with a verse perfectly aligned with this moment. The voice of God thundered in the book of Exodus, chapter 14, verse 13. Do not be afraid. Stand firm, and you will see the deliverance the Lord will bring you today. These words were spoken at the edge of the Red Sea, a place where a barrier stood so impossibly large it seemed to mock destiny itself. God didn't tell them to run. He didn't tell them to retreat. He told them to stand and watch Him remove the obstacle with His own hand. And in your life, that same miracle is echoing. You are standing at the edge of something that once felt impossible, and God is beginning to split the waters. When heaven removes barriers, it often looks like this. A conversation you dreaded suddenly flows with peace. A problem that haunted you suddenly loses its power. A financial burden lifts in a way you couldn't have orchestrated. A relationship that felt impossible to repair finds unexpected clarity. A door that wouldn't open suddenly doesn't just open, it calls your name. But sometimes barrier removal doesn't look external. It looks internal. A mindset shift, a healed memory, a restored sense of self-worth, a sudden release of something that once chained your emotions. Spiritual barriers fall before physical ones do, and that is what has been happening inside you. Think back to the heaviness you carried for so long, the emotional knots, the confusion in your decisions, the fear that kept circling your thoughts. Those were not just struggles, they were spiritual blockages. They kept you stuck, hesitant, unsure. But ever since the shift in the atmosphere began, you can feel those knots loosening. You can sense mental clarity returning. You can feel your courage rising again. God is removing barriers from the inside out. This is why things feel lighter now. This is why your spirit feels more open. This is why what once felt overwhelming now feels manageable. Heaven has begun to clear the path. And make no mistake, barriers do not fall quietly. They fall suddenly. They fall dramatically. They fall completely. Not piece by piece, whole structures collapse when God breathes on them. This is why some things in your life may have recently fallen apart without warning. A relationship ending, an environment shifting, a job transitioning, a routine breaking. You may have thought it was chaos, but it was cleansing. God was breaking what was blocking you. He was removing what you wouldn't have removed on your own. He was clearing the road so your blessing could find you without obstruction. You may also notice that certain people are drifting out of your life, not with drama, but with distance. They were barriers to growth, to peace, to authenticity, to destiny. Their exit is not loss, it is liberation. Heaven removes what hinders. Everything that falls away in this season falls by the hand of God. Everything that remains in this season remains by the grace of God. And as you stand in this moment, you begin to realize something profound. You are no longer stuck. You are no longer blocked. You are no longer trapped behind invisible walls. The barriers are gone. The path is clearing. The way is opening. You are stepping into the part of your journey where nothing, absolutely nothing, can stop what heaven has ordained for you. You move forward from the falling of barriers. And as you do, something profound begins to rest upon your spirit, something weighty, sacred, unmistakably divine. It is the feeling of being clothed in a new identity, a spiritual mantle settling across your shoulders. You may not see it with natural eyes, but your spirit recognizes the moment instantly. This is not motivation. This is not emotion. This is appointment. Heaven is placing a mantle on you. A mantle is more than a covering, it is a calling, an assignment, an impartation of spiritual authority. It is the garment worn by those whom heaven has entrusted with purpose. And in this moment, you feel the mantle of a chosen one descending upon your life like a warm cloak woven from destiny itself. You sense it in the way your posture shifts, your thoughts sharpen, your perception deepens. You feel heavier, but not the heaviness of burden. It is the heaviness of significance, the weight of responsibility, the presence of purpose. When God places his mantle on someone, they rise differently, they see differently, they move differently, they speak differently. And today, heaven is calling you into that difference. This mantle is not random. It was always meant for you. There were hints of it years ago, moments where you knew you were different. Moments where your heart responded to things others ignored. Moments where you saw truth others couldn't see. Moments where you carried compassion others lacked. These were early signs of the mantle forming, shaping, preparing. Now, that preparation has come full circle. Heaven confirms this moment with a scripture that carries deep prophetic weight, as was spoken in the sacred texts of old in the second book of Kings, chapter 2, verse 13. He picked up the mantle that fell from Elijah and stood on the Jordan's bank. You feel the power of this verse resonate in your chest. Elijah's mantle did not fall by accident. It fell by divine appointment, landing on the one who was ready to carry it forward. And now, in your life, the mantle you feel settling upon you is not second-hand. It is designed for your calling, shaped for your journey, fitted for your spirit. Heaven does not drop mantles carelessly. A mantle falls only when a person is ready to rise. And chosen one, you are ready. Everything you've endured, every battle you survived, every tear you cried in silence, every storm you navigated, every pressure that refined you. These were not random hardships. They were the forging of a mantle bearer. They strengthened your spiritual muscles. They stretched your capacity. They matured your discernment. They purified your intentions. They sharpened your sensitivity to God's voice. A mantle does not rest on the unprepared. It rests on those who have been processed. As you stand in this moment, you may feel a sense of both excitement and humility. Excitement because you know God is elevating you. Humility because you understand that what you carry now is sacred. You are not just walking forward, you are being commissioned. And because this moment is so sacred, I speak to you with sincerity. If these messages strengthen you, speak life into you, and guide you spiritually, then stay connected. Like, share, and subscribe not as routine actions but as ways of continuing the flow of what heaven is pouring into you. And if you feel led, not pressured to donate, then do it the way someone waters a seed that has begun to sprout. This is not about supporting a message. It is about nurturing what is nurturing you. What you water grows. What you value increases. What you honor expands. But more importantly, take this moment of mantle bearing and anchor it with reflection. Leave a comment, not a number, not a simple phrase, but a short reflection from your heart about what this mantle means to you. A few words, a sentence, a truth, something that marks this moment in your spirit. Because when heaven places a mantle on someone, and it is not meant to be hidden, it is meant to be acknowledged, recognized, received. As the mantle settles upon you, you begin to notice a transformation in your energy. A deeper confidence rises within you, not arrogance, but certainty. You begin to walk differently because you know who walks with you. You begin to speak differently because your words now carry weight. You begin to think differently because clarity replaces confusion. You begin to love differently because your heart is no longer fragile. It is fortified. This mantle is not temporary. It is not seasonal. It is lifelong. It is the spiritual garment that will accompany you into your next assignment, your next elevation, your next breakthrough. And as you continue your journey, you will see that this mantle will open doors human effort could never unlock. It will attract opportunities, divine connections, spiritual insight, and supernatural favor. You step forward from the moment the mantle rests upon your shoulders. And now the air around you feels charged with an energy you've never sensed before. It is as though time itself pauses, not in silence, but in anticipation. You can almost sense the heavenly realm leaning in, watching, waiting for the moment when what has been promised finally becomes visible. This is where the blessing begins to unveil itself. For so long, the blessing existed in the invisible. It was spoken over you in prayer, whispered to you in moments of worship, hinted at through dreams and signs. It lived in the realm of faith, real, but not yet tangible. You carried it in your spirit like a seed, trusting that it would one day grow into something you could see, touch, and walk in. And now, that seed is breaking through the soil. Chosen one, the unveiling of a blessing is not like the sudden flipping of a switch. It is more like sunrise. First, the sky shifts in color. Then light begins to stretch across the horizon. Then shadows change shape. And finally, the sun rises in full brilliance. The blessing reveals itself gradually, intentionally, beautifully, because heaven wants you to recognize every stage of its unfolding. You may already be noticing subtle signs. A sense of clarity rising in places where confusion once lived. A surprising peace settling in your heart. Opportunities that suddenly align without force. Conversations that flow effortlessly. strength that returns to you in moments where you once felt weak. These are the first rays of the blessing touching the surface of your reality. But then something deeper happens. You begin to recognize that what God is unveiling is not just something for you, it is something through you. Blessings are never random. They are woven with purpose, designed to shape not just your life but the lives around you. When God unveils a blessing, He unveils assignment, provision, direction, and transformation all at once. This moment is confirmed through Scripture, echoing with a clarity that feels divinely timed. As the ancient words recorded in the book of Romans of chapter 8, verse 28 still echo today. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him. These words feel different now. Once, they were a promise you clung to in hardship. Now, they are a reality unfolding before your eyes. You can look back and see how every disappointment redirected you, how every heartbreak refined you, how every delay protected you, how every battle strengthened you, how every closed door guided you into the precise place where the blessing would be revealed. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was random. Nothing was accidental. God was weaving the blessing through every moment of your journey. And now, the veil is lifting. The blessing may appear in different forms depending on the season you are stepping into. For some, it may unfold as divine opportunity doors opening that were once sealed shut. For others, it may take the form of restoration, relationships healed, confidence restored, peace reborn. For others still, it may come as clarity of purpose, finally understanding why life led you through places you didn't understand. Whatever form it takes, it is uniquely shaped for you. Your blessing does not resemble anyone else's blessing because your calling does not resemble anyone else's calling. As the blessing unveils itself, you may also notice something remarkable. The fear that once whispered in your ear no longer has the same power. The hesitation that once held you back begins to fade. The doubts that once clouded your mind begin to dissolve. This is the supernatural confidence that arrives with divine unveiling. Blessings activate boldness. They awaken something courageous inside of you that you didn't know was there. You also begin to sense divine alignment happening around you. People entering your life at the exact moment you need support. Mentors appearing without explanation. Resources showing up right when you felt empty-handed. Ideas flowing freely. Solutions unfolding with ease. These are not coincidences. They are signs that the blessing is not coming alone. It is bringing divine assistance with it. And perhaps the most profound shift of all, you begin to feel worthy of what is being revealed. In past seasons, you questioned whether you deserved good things. You doubted your own ability to receive. You wondered if the blessing was too big for someone like you. But now, those thoughts no longer hold the same weight. You see that your worth was never based on perfection, performance, or achievement. It was rooted in the fact that God chose you and wrote your name into the fabric of His plan. Your readiness is no longer a question, it is a reality. You step into the final stretch of this divine journey. And as you do, something within you settles with a calm, powerful certainty. It is not the calm of stillness, it is the calm of identity. The calm of someone who finally understands who they are, why they were shaped the way they were, why they walked through battles others didn't see, why certain burdens sat on their shoulders while others lived freely without them. This calm is the mark of the risen one, the one heaven has been forming, refining, awakening. You are stepping into the identity of the marked one. The rise of a chosen one doesn't happen in a single moment. It happens in layers, in awakenings, in the slow unfolding of truth. It happens through pain that becomes wisdom, storms that become strength, silence that becomes clarity, and seasons of waiting that become unwavering faith. All along, heaven has been developing something inside you that could not be taught by comfort. You are being shaped like gold in fire, like stone under the sculptor's hand, like a seed breaking open beneath the soil. And now, you rise. This rise is not loud, it is not dramatic. Instead, it is steady, an emergence of spiritual authority, confidence, discernment, and inner power. You feel it in the way you think differently. You feel it in the way you choose differently. You feel it in the way you speak with more certainty, move with more purpose, and respond with more wisdom. There is a weight to your presence now, a quiet weight that does not need to be announced. Your spirit speaks before your words ever do. Heaven anchors this moment with a scripture meant specifically for those stepping fully into their divine identity. As the Spirit spoke through the Apostle Peter in the first book of Peter, chapter 2, verse 9. But you are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special possession, that you may declare the praises of Him who called you out of darkness into His wonderful light. These words reveal what has been true about you all along. You were never ordinary. You were never random. You were never forgotten. You were chosen, set apart, marked, protected, guided. Even in the darkest seasons of your life, heaven kept its hand on you. Not because you were perfect, but because you were called. Light was always your inheritance, even when you walked through shadows. As you rise into this identity, something remarkable happens. The world around you begins to respond. People who once overlooked you begin to notice. Opportunities that once slipped away now begin to align. Environments that once felt heavy now feel too small for you. The rise of a chosen one always disturbs the atmosphere, not through chaos, but through elevation. You begin attracting what matches your calling and releasing what no longer fits your spirit. This rise does not make you prideful, it makes you humbled. Because now you see clearly everything you survived was shaping you for this. Every rejection carved space for the right connections. Every heartbreak deepened your compassion. Every disappointment strengthened your resilience. Every ending cleared the path for something better. You realized nothing was wasted. Nothing was meaningless. Nothing was accidental. You were being prepared to carry what others were never built to hold. You feel your perspective shifting. The things that once frightened you no longer do. The shadows that once intimidated you now shrink in your presence. You walk not as someone searching for purpose, but as someone embodying it. You speak not as someone seeking approval, but as someone rooted in truth. You move not as someone unsure of their path, but as someone guided by heaven's hand. You finally understand that your rise was never meant to make others comfortable, it was meant to make heaven's plan visible. As you embrace this identity, you step into a new way of living. You walk with discernment at the forefront, peace as your foundation, and wisdom as your companion. You no longer rush decisions because you trust divine timing. You no longer cling to people because you trust divine alignment. You no longer shrink yourself because you trust divine purpose. Chosen one, as you reach the end of this journey, take a breath and feel what is settling over your spirit right now. This is not just the end of a message, this is the beginning of a new chapter in your life. You are not the same person who started reading. You are clearer, stronger, more aligned, more aware of the calling resting on your life. Heaven has been speaking to you through every section, shaping you, guiding you, awakening you. And if this journey has touched your spirit, if it has lifted you, strengthened you, or confirmed what God has been whispering inside you, Then stay connected. Like this message so it continues reaching those who need it. Share it with someone walking through their own storm, someone who needs a reminder of who they are. Leave a comment, your reflection, your truth, your testimony, because your voice may be the confirmation someone else is praying for. And subscribe if you haven't already, so you remain connected to every future word heaven pours through this space. This is your moment, your rise, your alignment, your blessing. Thank you for walking this entire journey with an open spirit. Greater things are coming, watch for them.